what it is. What's good, y'all? What it is, what's up, what's good? I do see people joining. Yeah, go ahead and start liking the live, please. Start liking the live, start getting this out to everybody so we can go ahead and get some opposition in here and get some good discussion going. So yeah, I do see the prompt of the live. I have better morals than Yahweh. I think you have better morals than Yahweh. And if you don't know who Yahweh is, it's the God of the Bible. I have better morals than that God, and I think you have better morals than that God. What's up, Hope? We gotta go ahead and teach these people out here, man. We gotta go ahead and teach people out here that we have better morals than Yahweh. Not just me. I'm not even saying specifically atheists, but all of us. What up, antisocial? Antisocial's in the house. Wifey in the house, y'all. But yes, we all have better morals than the Yahweh character. I have better morals than him, and I think you have better morals than him. And if you disagree with me, let me know. You notice that too, huh, Pope? Now, to be fair, of course, these countries, you know, they live in, you know, they're like, they have better economies and everything like that, and better social programs. However, it still should be noted that because they have less religion, because they kind of think that, you know, this is all we have, we kind of have to take care of the people that we have around us. A lot of the most, like, I would say, politically selfish people that I've seen are, well, I live in the United States. So the most politically selfish people I've seen are the ones who claim to be Christian. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're going to, you know, be a Christian society, Christian nation, you know, feeding the hungry and clothing the naked, this is exactly what God said. So why won't you want the government to follow exactly that? It's always been strange to me that they won't. All right, we do have our first guest. We do have our first guest. The name is Jack. I'll bring you up right now. The is Jack. Is that your name?
Yeah, my name is just Jack Bob.
Jack, how's it going on, Jack? Any type of religious tradition?
I'm a Christian.
All right, bro. So let's go ahead and talk. We got 25 minutes on the clock. I think I have better morals than Yahweh, and I think you have better morals than Yahweh. You disagree?
Yeah. So what is securing? Like, so when you say you have better morals, like, what do you mean by morals exactly? Like, just like ethics, like.
Yes.
Okay, so, let me ask you a question: is the Abrahamic God evil?
Yes.
By what standard?
He says he is.
Okay, if you're gonna troll me, then I'll just leave. Like, I want to have an honest conversation. I don't want to be trolled. Okay, so by what standard is the Abrahamic God evil again?
He said he created evil. He said he is. By his own standard, he's evil.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean like moral evil. He's not talking about moral evil in that verse. You're talking about Isaiah chapter 45 verse 7, right?
Yeah, he said that he's evil. So I'm gonna go by what he says.
No, it doesn't say that he's evil because he created calamity. That verse means calamity. Okay, do you know what the Hebrew word ra is?
I don't care about that. The thing is, he said that I create good and create evil. So if he created evil, does that not mean that it came from him?
In other translations, it means calamity.
Right. So calamity came from him.
Yeah. Do you know what calamity means?
Yeah. There's like destruction, chaos, etc.
It's just God's judgment. So God has included the unpleasantries in life as a
there's a different definition of calamity. There's a different definition of calamity than what we all know.
Yeah. So when we say calamity, that's just referring to God's judgment.
That's not what the definition of calamity is. You're making that up.
No, you're not listening. Focus. I'm not.
No, I'm listening to you, but you're saying that when you say calamity, it means this thing, but that's not what we know as calamity.
That's not what I'm
Hold on,
saying.
but Jack, that's clearly what you said. You said that
Oh,
it says
God.
calamity, and then you said calamity means God's judgment. And I
Because
said,
that's
okay. I said, hold on. I said, okay, cool.
all right,
But
bro.
you're making up a definition at that point. You're just,
Can we
I mean,
like
all definitions are made up. I'll give you
can
that.
I explain
But that's
myself? Or are
not.
you gonna keep on speaking?
I'll let you explain yourself. Give me a second. It's cool that if you're gonna come up with your own definition of it,
It's like
cool.
I'm not coming up.
However, that's not the calamity that we all understand. So if it's calamity just means God's judgment, so when it says evil in the Bible, calamity in the Bible, it doesn't mean what we all know what it means. It means something completely different.
No, what I'm listen. Before you went on a tirade, you need to first let me explain myself because you didn't understand deep enough. So what I'm saying is,
Going off what you said, but go ahead, bro.
no, when the Bible uses the word calamity, it's
Mhm.
referring to God's judgment, like God doing an action, like that's God judging, like God flooding, that's God judging the world. When He flooded the earth, that's Him
Mhm.
judging the world. Like
Okay,
that's His
cool,
calamity. Like He's bringing upon calamity. That's what
cool.
I'm
That's
talking
evil.
about.
Cool, that's evil.
By what standard?
By what standard? By my own,
By what?
by my own, and by his own as well.
Okay, so
By his own as well. You know why? Is by his own as well because then he say that the shedding of innocent blood is detestable.
yeah, humans are not innocent in the Christian worldview.
Okay, the Christian worldview is shitty then
By what standard?
by my own because
Okay,
what makes
then it's
babies
just your
innocent? I mean,
opinion.
what makes babies evil?
They're humans.
Just simply being human doesn't make you evil.
I don't make the rules, bro. I just deliver them. So
Okay, who made the rules?
this is God's word.
Can you show me that God's word is actually true?
Can I show you that God's word isn't necessarily true? Like, what do you
Yes.
mean by that?
What do you mean? What I mean? Can you show me that this Bible is necessarily true and what we should follow for the rest of our lives, and that it came from an actual deity? Can you actually show me that?
Are you just asking me to prove that the Christian God exists?
Yes.
I mean, we have a lot of evidence that points towards His existence.
Like what?
But like, first, I would need to like get your standard of proof because if you don't even have a standard of proof, then there's no point in me trying to do that.
Something that's empirical, testable, and can be replicated.
How the hell can you test God?
Exactly. So we
Okay,
have no evidence, do we?
okay. So are you inventing empiricism, sir? Are you
What?
saying that we can? Are you saying that we can only accept something to be true, like if we can verify it through our sense datum?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So you know, empiricism is self-refuting. It's a self-refuting position
How?
because there's no empirical methodology to show that that proposition is is to be reckoned as truth. I mean,
What
if
does
you
that
can give it
mean? Repeat that again.
the proposition, right?
Hmm.
That empiricism is true. There is no empirical methodology that can prove that proposition is true. So it's a self-refuting position.
No, not really, because empiricism is the only thing that we can use to actually show things to be true. What other method do you have?
Yeah. So I believe that truth is independent of the mind. So I don't believe that
Hmm.
I don't believe that we can only know something to be true if it comes ultimately from our sense datum. Because I
Okay.
believe
What method do you have to show that is another thing?
yeah, I believe that truth is derivative or is reflective of God's nature.
And how do you show that to be true?
I mean, you're asking me to prove the Christian God, but I need a standard of proof because if you can't give me a standard of proof, then there's no point in me trying to do that.
That's not what that's not what I'm asking now. I'm asking you how do you show your method to be the correct one?
How do I show my method to be the correct one?
Yes, because like you're saying that we can't use our senses, we can't use sense data.
I
I
didn't say
understand.
that.
Wait,
I
hold
never
on.
said that.
I understand. You just said that that empiricism is self-refuting because we can't use our sense data.
No, because that's not what I'm saying. So the position empiricism is the position that we can only know something to be true if it can be verified through our sense datum. I
Yeah,
never said that
because
we could not use our sense datum. I never said that. You
right,
mischaracterized
because
my argument.
our sense datum is the only thing that we can use. If you have another method, what is it? And you just said me that God is the method of truth, or God is the, I'm sorry, I did paraphrase, but you know what you had said before. Cool. How do you show that to be true then without using our sense data? Because you said that's it'll be I'm refuting at that point.
No, it would be empirically okay, so do you know what empirical like circularity is?
Okay, allow me to understand. You said that for you to understand truth, correct me if I'm wrong, for truth is derivative of God. Is that what you said?
Yeah, ultimately we derive truth from
All right.
God.
Ultimately, we derive truth from God. Okay. So what I'm saying is, how do you show that to be true without using our sense datum? Because you said sense datum is self-refuting. So how do
Oh,
we show God is the derivative of the truth without using our senses?
oh, it's self-authenticating.
What does that mean?
It's self-authenticated by God.
What does that mean?
Like it's self-authenticated.
You're just repeating yourself. What exactly does that mean? You're saying that it's true that God is the truth because God is the truth because it's true.
Yeah, it's circularity. It's circular.
You can't use that, bro. That's circular logic. That's complete. That's
No, not all circular reasoning is fallacious. Do you object to like
no.
epistemological principle?
What I'm saying is about your position is that there is no way for us to actually verify that. You're just saying that it's true because you said so.
Yeah, because it's self-authenticated.
You're just saying that because you said so. That how do we determine anything at that point?
No, not because I said so, but because it's self-authenticating.
How do you know that?
Because truth is derivative of God's
How do you
nature.
know that?
Because that is what He has ordained. Because
How
that
do
is
you
what
know that?
because He revealed it.
Where? Where did he reveal it? Where?
He revealed it in creation and
What
through the
creation?
Bible.
In the Bible?
Yeah, the universe is God's
And
creation.
how do we know that the Bible is true? How do you know the universe is God's creation? I can just simply say that the universe is the creation
It's
of Olodumare. You believe me that the creation is the creation of Olodumare?
who's that?
Olodumare is the god of West African voodoo. He's the
What
ultimate
else?
god.
Well, that's false.
Why is that false and Yahweh's true?
Because the Christian God is the only God that can exist. Because his property set is indispensable and it's necessary for truth value.
So is Olodumare.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
His
is.
property. Okay,
You don't even know what Olodumare is. How can you tell me?
define his property set.
Olodumare has all the properties of your god, except he's black.
Oh, is he dependent or is he independent?
What do you mean dependent or independent of what?
Is he material or is he immaterial?
He's completely immaterial. He's everything.
He's everything.
He's everything and he's nothing at the same time, just like yours.
That's contradictory.
No, it's not, because yours is everything and nothing at the same time.
How so?
Isn't your God outside of space and time?
He's independent
Of space and time. So he's outside of space, outside of time. So he's immaterial and material at the same time.
No, wait, what? No, I don't think you understand. So
No, hold on. Do you define God as being outside of space and time?
God is in the. I don't know. I don't hold to the position that God is timeless. I believe that time exists as a part of God's nature.
So time is a part of God. Time is a part of God nature. Is time material or immaterial?
No, time is not like tangible. You can't touch time. No.
Agreed. So so time is immaterial. So that means your God is immaterial. But is God omnipresent? Is he everywhere?
When we say that God is omnipresent, we just mean that he is the sustainer. Like he's omnipresent in the way that he is the sustainer of all things. Like we don't say God is omnipresent and like he exists in like a peanut butter spread.
Okay, he's the sustainer of all things. If he's the sustainer of all things, he's the sustainer of peanut butter bread as well. Then
Yeah. So
okay, so he's everywhere. So he's everywhere and everything, and then he's nothing at the same time. He's immaterial.
No, I don't agree that God is everywhere. Like that's not. We're not
If he's
pantheists.
everywhere, then he can't be omnipresent.
Yeah, so you need to understand what we mean when we say God is omnipresent. We mean that he is a sustainer of all things.
So he's everywhere.
Not necessarily.
He can't be the sustainer of all things if he's not everywhere, bro.
Yeah, that's not okay. No, yeah, he can actually.
Okay, so he can be everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
You don't know because that's not what we mean by omnipresence.
So what do you mean by omnipresence? Because you just said that omnipresence means that he's the sustainer of everything. How can he be the sustainer of everything and not be everywhere?
Because without God, nothing can be anything. Like it.
So he's everywhere.
No, because God is absolute. Because God cannot fail to exist, so therefore He is the sustainer of all things.
So he's everywhere.
No, He's not everywhere.
So if he's not everywhere, how can he sustain everything and not be everywhere?
Because without God, the universe would collapse on itself.
So he has to be everywhere.
No, not necessarily.
Necessarily, because he's a sustainer of all things.
No, it doesn't work like that, buddy.
So what the hell is it, bro? Like this is the thing this is the ridiculous that we get
Just
into.
because you're in
You're
a state
saying
of
that
confusion.
you're saying that he has to sustain everything, but he doesn't need to be everywhere in order to sustain everything.
Listen. Just because you're in a state of confusion, it does not mean that
I'm in a state of confusion because what you're describing is completely confusing. How can
no.
something sustain everything and not be everywhere?
You need to understand what we mean when we say that God is omnipresent.
We already been through this. What you mean is that he's the sustainer of all things. I understand that.
This is what Christians mean.
What that necessarily means is that if he's the sustainer of all things, he has to necessarily be everywhere. But you said he
No.
can't. He doesn't have to be. Okay, so if he's not everywhere, how
What we
exactly
mean
is he? If he's not everywhere, how exactly does he sustain all things if he's not everywhere?
because God is
How does he sustain these things if
I'm
he's not
answering
there?
your question because God is absolutely necessary for existence.
And
So
how do you know that?
because he is the independent first cause,
And how
like
do you
he's the
know that?
uncause, like he's the creator of everything. So without the creator, nothing can exist.
And how do you know that?
Because like okay, so for example, like time, space, and matter all exist. Like would you say that we are like we exist like with contingency upon time, space, and matter?
Say that again.
Would you say that humans exist with contingency upon time, space, and matter?
Like it's necessary that we have time, space, and matter in order to yeah, I can accept that. Yeah,
Okay, so who created time, space, and matter?
nothing.
In my no,
Time cannot be created.
no, in the Christian worldview, who
Yeah,
created
okay. In
time?
the Christian worldview, but you asked me. I said that nothing can create time.
No,
Time has always existed.
but I'm speaking from my worldview. So you're asking me why can't things exist without God? I'm saying because without the creator of um, these things cannot exist because God is absolutely necessary. Like for example, time exists as a part of God's nature.
Time can't be created.
Yeah, it wasn't created. It has always existed. Time exists as a part of God's nature, right?
Okay, so time has always existed, and but you're simply describing time as God itself.
It's a part of God's nature.
Okay,
Yeah.
how do you know that time is a part of God's nature?
This is just a belief that I hold to.
Okay, faith is not a reliable pathway to truth, bro. So how would you even demonstrate this?
You know, I can say the same about you, right? Like, do you know what epistemology is?
I know what epistemology is. I understand what epistemology is, but that's not what an answer to my question. How do we even demonstrate what you're saying?
What do you mean? Like, how would you be able to demonstrate it?
What you're saying that time is a part of God's nature, and I asked you how you know that. You say it's something that you just believe. That's fine, but my contention is that faith is not a
Oh
pathway to
no,
truth.
I can demonstrate. Okay, so I can demonstrate that God's a part. Okay, so would you say that God is like in your worldview, like, or like, if, like, for example, like people would define time as like the rate of change or like subsequent moments, right? Um,
Hmm.
Meaning that like a moment follows after another moment, but in the Genesis story, there was a first moment. So if you believe that time is like the rate of change, and like time is like this like subsequent moments, there was a first moment. So therefore, that first moment had to be timeless, which is impossible. So that's why I hold to the identification view of time, which is like time exists as a part of God's nature.
Okay, I hold that the view that time cannot be created. Time has always been a thing. There was no first moment.
I agree with you.
Okay, so if there was no first moment, time has always been a
No,
thing.
there was a
And
first there was a first moment
no, there
for
wasn't. Time has always been a thing. There was no first moment.
no like for God, time has always been a thing, but not for humans.
No, like and because in no, it's because okay, so you said for God, time has never wait. So for God, there's never been a first moment. So he's an infinite
Listen.
regress. Hold on. So God
No,
is an infinite regress.
no, he has
If
always
God is an
existed.
infinite regress, how
He's
come
not
we
an
just can't
infinite
apply that to the
regress.
universe?
He's not an infinite regress. He's
He's
always
always
existed.
existed. So he's an infinite regress. So if
No,
God is an infinite regress, why can't the universe also be an infinite regress?
he's not. God is not an infinite regress, bro.
Because he's always existed. That's an infinite regress.
What is regressing? I don't understand.
What do you mean what is regressing? God is regressing because you said that God never had a first moment. He's always
No,
just been.
in order to say that something has an infinite regression, it would imply a start. There was no start for
No,
God.
infinite regression means there is no start. That's what infinite regression means. Literally mean
No.
infinite
Okay, so how
regression
would you be
literally means there is no
regressing?
start. Hold on, listen to what I'm saying too. Infinite regression literally means there is no start. It just regresses into infinity. There's never been a start. There's never been an end. That's what
Yeah,
infinite regress
that's
literally means.
That's
So if
mathematically contradictory.
not really. So infinite regress literally
What is
means
infinity minus
li-
infinity?
infinity. Infinite regress
Okay, how is it
literally
not mathematically contradictory?
okay. No. So it's an infinite regress.
There
That's
is
not
no
mathematically
infinity.
contradictory if you can do it in math. So if
No.
infinite regress literally means that there is no beginning, and you just said God has no beginning, so God Himself is an infinite regress. So what I'm asking you is, if you're applying the standard that God is an infinite regress, why can't the universe also be an infinite regress?
I don't believe that.
We haven't even gotten to any of these yet. You're just doing the whole precept argument, which was just shit in the first place.
No,
We haven't
this is
even gotten
not.
to these yet.
This is not. Well, you don't have a standard. You
Yeah,
don't
I
have.
do.
Okay, so by what standard is God evil?
By the fact and in my standard, the what I predict as good or bad or a good or evil is if evil has like extremely negative consequences on things like well-being, things like equality, and things like consequences, things that have negative or extremely negative consequences, extremely harmful to human well-being and extremely harmful to equality, I dictate as evil. Things
Okay.
like the R word, things like slavery, things like genocide,
Yeah.
these are all have negative consequences and all have negative consequences on self-harm and take away equality. God has ordered or caused all of these.
Okay. So would you say that like the truth is like, or like humans decide what is true necessarily?
That doesn't matter. Can you explain? Can you
No,
go ahead
I
and
need to
respond to
get
what I said?
your. I need to get your view on this, or we can have a conversation.
Yeah, we can. I just gave you what my standard was on morality and what's my standard was on
Okay.
good and
So
evil, and I told you what it was, and I told you that God ordered or caused these, so that's why I view them as evil, and that's why I view that I have better
okay.
morals than Yahweh, and you have better morals than Yahweh,
So
because you
does
will
your
not enslave
mind?
anybody.
Okay. So does your mind? So does your mind provide you with the ability to like perceive or like create absolute truth, or is it or is it an opinion?
I didn't get what you said. Say that one more time, please.
Like, is what you're saying like when you say the proposition that God is evil? Is
Mm-hmm.
that proposition like absolutely true, or is it an opinion?
Oh, just opinion of mine.
Okay, so there. Okay, so why would I? So like, who cares if you think that God is evil? It's not necessarily true. Like, it's just your opinion. I can have
So
an
what you talking to
opinion.
me for?
I'm, I'm just trying to like relay that message to you. Like, you
Cool.
saying,
So do you disagree with me?
yeah, I disagree.
Why?
Yeah, because God cannot do evil.
Okay, did
It's
God order
impossible.
people to R word, or did He cause R word?
No, so
Yeah,
that's
He did.
not. No, you didn't.
Yeah, He did.
No, that's not what that
Yeah, He did.
means. You just don't understand. Like,
No, God caused it.
yeah. So you just don't.
Do you remember the story of when David had what was his name? When David had sex with Bathsheba, and then he sent the Uriah the Hittite to die in battle.
Are
Remember
you
that story,
talking
right?
about the Genesis story?
I'm talking about David. David's not in Genesis. He's in Samuel.
Oh, okay. Well,
Do you remember the
no.
story of David when he had sex with the Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? You remember that story?
I believe I heard this yesterday.
Okay,
Actually,
great. And that's in that story, David sent Uriah the Hittite to die in battle. God Yahweh didn't like that. I agree with Yahweh. That was pretty fucked up of David. So for Yahweh to punish David, he says that he's going to cause his calamity in his house, and his sons will kidnap his wives and sleep with them on top of the temple in front of all of Israel. The women's consent was not taken into consideration here. David's son Absalom just took his wives and his concubines and raped them in front of all of Israel. And then in the Bible, it said that God was causing this in broad daylight.
okay. So where does it say that they're raped?
It says that Absalom took his wives. They had no choice. There was no choice for the women here
Where does it say that?
in the Bible.
Okay, give me the verse where it says that the woman had no choice.
Wait a minute. So you're gonna say, hold on. So you're gonna add in things that are not in the Bible? Is that what you're gonna do?
No, you said that
Because
they
the
had
Bible
no.
doesn't mention them having a choice. It just said that his
Oh,
wives
so
took
it
them.
doesn't. So it doesn't. So they did
It
have a
doesn't
choice.
It does, yeah. It doesn't say that they had a choice that they went with David. It said that they went with Absalom. It said that
Okay, so let me
Absalom
ask
took
you a
the
question.
wives. Absalom took the wives. There was no consent here.
Okay,
No
where does it
consent was
say?
mentioned at all.
Where does
It
it
said
say
that
that?
Absalom took his wives.
Okay,
Absalom took David's wives. No mention of consent, my guy.
how have you came to the conclusion that these women were not that it wasn't consensual? Have you done that?
Because the verses don't mention consent at
Okay,
all. It doesn't say
just
that the wives chose to go with them.
yeah. So just
So
because
just
the
because
verse,
the verse doesn't
all right,
mention it
can I
doesn't mean that
talk
it
to
didn't
you?
happen. Yeah, no,
Can I
I know
talk
because I
to
already know
you?
what you're gonna say. Just because the verse this doesn't don't say that they consented doesn't mean that they didn't consent. Can you find me how so that means you're adding things to the Bible because it doesn't
I'm
mention
not
consent.
adding nothing. You're adding stuff, not
No, I'm
me.
not. I literally said it didn't mention them having consent. It said that
Okay, so
Absalom
but
took
you're saying
David.
that it's
It said that
non-consensual.
Absalom took David's wives. No mention of consent, my guy.
Okay, so how'd you come to the conclusion that it was non-consensual then? If it
Because
had,
they didn't mention any type of anything with consent. They didn't say the wives chose to go with them.
okay,
They said that Absalom took them.
so if it didn't, so if it doesn't mention that it's not that it's non-consensual, then how
Then
have
it's
you come to the
non-consensual.
yeah? Just because it doesn't mention it doesn't mean that it's
Doesn't mean it didn't
non-consensual.
happen. You're making excuses, bro. You're making excuses at this point.
Listen, sir, listen. Just because the verse never mentioned the woman consenting does not mean that it was non-consensual.
Yeah, it
How
does.
do you think that? No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, for example, let
So
me.
then prove it was consensual. Can you give me a chapter or verse that proves it was consensual?
No, I'm not the one
Exactly.
that's. I'm not the one that's making any claims here, sir.
Yeah,
You're the one
because it
that's
was
making any
non-consensual.
claim.
Okay, let's
Okay,
read the verse. 2 Samuel 12, 8 to 12. I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your bosom and gave you the house of Israel and of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would have added much more. Why have you despised the word of the Lord to do evil in his sight? You have struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword and have taken his wife to be your wife and have killed, unalived them in the sword of the Ammonites. This is God talking to David, or God talking to the prophet talking to David. Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from you from your house, for you have despised me and taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Again, this is God still talking. Thus says the Lord, I will raise up trouble against you from your own house. I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in broad daylight. For you did it secretly, but I will do this thing, all of Israel, in broad daylight. There is nothing here about the wives choosing to go with these men. It says that the God is going to cause them, God is going to take them and give them to these men. There's no mention of consent here, my guy,
okay. So how you came to the conclusion that it was non-consensual?
because there's no consent mentioned here.
Okay, just because it doesn't mention it doesn't mean it was
Doesn't mean it didn't
non-consensual.
happen. Come on, bro, that's bullshit. You know that is.
No, I don't actually.
Yeah, you do. It says
No, I
here that
don't.
God is going to take them and give them to somebody else. God is taking them and giving them to somebody else.
No,
Where's the consent?
but the great part though, you're saying
God
like
is taking them and giving them to someone else.
I
Where is
don't
the
believe
consent?
I don't believe these women
It
were
literally
great.
says here, thus the Lord, I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house. I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor. God is taking the wives and give them to someone else. How do you get consent from that?
Okay, so since you made the claim that they're
Take means
great,
take, my man.
all right, man. So since you made the claim that these women are great, can you prove that it was non-consensual?
Yes, because God
Go
said
ahead.
that he's going to take them and give them to the neighbors. Take means take, my nigga.
Yeah. So when God's saying like when God is saying that he's going to take the woman, he's saying that he's going to take them and give them to the other men. But that doesn't have to do nothing with grape though. You haven't got to that part yet.
How do you get consent from if I'm gonna take your wives, if I go to your house, take your sister and give her to somebody else, did I just allow her to get raped?
Remember, sir, we haven't got to the great part yet, sir.
Yeah, we have.
No,
It
we
already
haven't.
says that it already says I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in broad daylight.
Okay, so how do you know that when the guy laid with the wife, it wasn't consensual? How do you know that?
Because God literally said that he's going to take them and give it to them to the others.
Yeah,
What
but
are,
at
what are
that
you
point we
talking
have,
about?
but at that point we have not got to the great part though. What are you not understanding? I can't.
Where's the consent here, man? Where's the consent? Where's the consent? Can you tell me where the consent is?
Bro, I'm not the one that's making any claims here.
Okay, yeah, you are. You said that this is consensual.
I never said that. I'm saying,
Oh, so you
listen,
admit that it's not consensual.
no, not at all. What I'm saying is, you're the one that's saying It is non-consensual, but you
It
have no
is
proof of
because
that.
God, I literally read it to you. What do you mean?
Yeah. So where does it say that that this is non-consensual?
Where it says that I will take your wives before your eyes, and he shall lie with your wives in broad daylight.
Okay, so how do you
Where it
know that
says,
when they laid together it was not consensual? How do you know that?
because God said he's going to take them and give them to somebody else.
Okay.
That's not consent.
Yeah, but when God says he's going to take them, we have not got to the great part yet, sir.
Yes, lie with your wives in broad daylight, my guy. My
Yeah,
guy.
so that's when we
Where
haven't
is
gotten to the
consent if I
great
just take
part.
something? If I
See,
snatch something out your hand, did you consent to me
see,
doing that?
you're skipping
If I
ahead.
took something out your hand, did I consent? Did you consent to me because I took it out your hand?
You're skipping ahead.
Did I take
Skipping
some?
ahead.
Did you consent to me taking something out your hand? If you lay out your hand, I take it from you.
When
Did you
God
consent for me to take that? Did you consent
when
to it?
God took the woman, we have not gotten to the great part yet. Stop trying to
When
skip
God took
ahead.
the woman, the consent of the women is not mentioned. It is not there.
Okay, so
How do
how
you
we
get
came to the
consent?
conclusion that it was not consensual?
Because consent is not mentioned. The
Okay, let me ask
women
you a
choosing
question.
this is not in the verse.
Okay, so let's say I have a son, right, and I take him to a basketball gym.
He did not consent.
Yeah, but he said I wanted to go to the basketball gym, so I took
Where
him to
did
the
the women in
basketball
this
gym.
verse say that they want to lie with the men? Where does it say that?
No, that's not what I'm trying to. Okay, so
Where
you're
in
not.
this verse does it
I
say that
never,
the women wanted to lie with the
I
men?
never said that it
Does it
said
say
that.
that? It
I never
doesn't
said
say
that.
that, right? Okay, so your analogy is disanalogous. Your son asked you to take him to the gym. If you just woke up your son and took him to the gym, he didn't consent.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that just because,
All
yeah,
right, bro, we got 30 more seconds, bro. What else you got?
just because
You
the
want to get to
woman,
slavery?
just because the Bible
You want
never
to get to slavery?
mentioned. Hold on. So just because the Bible never
Do you want to
mentioned
get to
them
slavery?
consenting does not mean that they didn't
Do you want to
consent.
get to slavery? Do you want to get to slavery?
Nah, I'm about to leave, bro.
All right, bro. Have a good day.
All right, bro.
All right, y'all. Keep liking it live. Keep sharing it. Keep liking it live. Keep sharing it, please. Hey, Dex, I see you in the chat. I think you're friendly, but
Man,
hey, Dex, how's it going?
Good to see you, brother. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. How's it going?
How you doing?
I'm okay. Hey, Jazz, if you want to come up and discuss,
hang
man,
on a
come up and
second. Maybe
discuss, Jazz.
How you
Hey,
been?
Jazz, I'm all right. I've been doing okay. Just I'm gonna be here maybe an hour because I'm moving, so I still got to pack and all that. Jazz, if you want to come up here and we could discuss because you've been talking in the comments and you never come up. I don't like that. I don't like chatting to the comments, Jazz. But yeah, Dex, what's been good with you, bro?
Oh, not much. Just hanging. Figured I'd jump in and say hey to you. And we kind of been missing each other and just seeing each other in chat. But wanted to say hey and enjoying the cooking. So keep it going, man.
I appreciate you, man.
Okay, man. Take care, brother. I'll be in the chat.
You too. All right, y'all. I had Perua, but I'm not sure who was first. Yeah, Peru, you're back in line. Sorry about that. All right, I have Finesse, I have Hood Bible, and I have Jamari. I'm not sure which one of you guys was first, so I'm just gonna pick at random. If you picked a long time ago, I do apologize that I didn't get to you next. Okay. I think Hood Bible is first on the queue. TikTok orders it weird, so I gotta bring up Hood Bible first. All right, Hood Bible, what's good?
How's it going? I'm gonna be super fast. I kind of just wanted to ask a question towards your brain set. I wouldn't consider myself a friendly. So if I was to tell you I'm gonna take your girlfriend, in like a modern sense, would you believe that I'm implying physically? Like,
if you were to come up to me and say I'm gonna take your girlfriend, what I assume that's physically? Well, it could mean a lot of things. You could say take my girlfriend because I'm not treating her right, so you're gonna treat her better than me, or you're gonna flirt with her, et cetera, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think that's a very common way to think of it. If somebody was to come up to you and say I'm gonna take your wife, I would assume that you wouldn't automatically assume that he means in a physical or negative connotation. I don't even believe, to my knowledge, I think it would be a contradiction to believe that God is implying that he's going to physically take these women. I think that would be a contradiction to his deity and the Trinity itself. So I don't believe that that's what the text is implying. I think that yes, take means take every time, but I think that I just show him it could be he could have allured them, which would have been which would have been with their consent, and alluring or convincing somebody, regardless of if it's of what methods are used, a consent has been gained, and that's just more where I would draw my mind to when he's saying that, oh, I'm going to take your wife and have them lay with men in broad daylight. Well, maybe he's saying that tragedy is going to come across, and I'm going to have somebody else come and finesse your girl out of you, and everybody's going to see it. I don't think that I would just automatically imply that he's going to physically take these women against their will. I think that's very intellectually dishonest.
Okay, the reason why that's not dishonest is because like this lines perfectly with what God has done before. Have you read Deuteronomy 21:10?
You could read it for me.
All right, Deuteronomy 21:10, because like this lines up exactly with what God has done before, and Deuteronomy is before Samuel, so we know this is what he means. When you go out to war against your enemies and the Lord your God gives them into the hands and you take them captive, suppose you see among the captives a beautiful woman whom you desire and want to marry. And so you bring her into your house, and she shall shave her head, pare her nails, discard her captive garb, and remain in your house for a full month, mourning her mother and her mourning her father and mother. After that, you may go in her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. That's Deuteronomy 21:10. Deuteronomy 21:10 to 13.
So I think that there's a lot of instances and topics in the Bible that that it would seem that God is particularly not, I guess from an atheist standpoint, he's promoting such topics such as rape and slavery and things of that nature. But from a Christian or biblical standpoint, there is been multiple times, I would use divorce as one, probably the best one. God verbatim says that I hate divorce, but he then also goes on to provide guidelines and ways to go about divorce. So we know that there are things that God hates, but he does give certain guidelines and ways to go about certain things because he knows that they're going to happen regardless.
Okay, number one, God is all powerful. He can just ban it because he banned cross-dressing. He banned eating shellfish. So he can just ban it. He banned tattoos. He banned cutting your beard. He can just say, don't do it. So that's a big BS excuse for me. But the second thing I would say is that really doesn't address what I pointed out here. This is an incident. This God right here, when he's giving them instructions on war, is literally telling them that they can go ahead and rape people. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. You live in the United States, right?
I do.
Okay. Let's say for some reason the United States and Mexico go to war, right? Let's say a soldier goes to Mexico City and sees some hot Latina chick that he wants. He then takes her, unalives her parents, and goes back to Texas. Lets her live in his house for about a month, shaves her head, and then has sex with her. Is that great?
I don't believe so. I wouldn't consider it.
That wouldn't be great to go to another country, capture a woman from another country, bring her back into yours, and then have sex with her a month later. That's not great.
Again, I think that we're being intellectually dishonest as to the way the world worked.
No. Hood. Listen to what I'm saying, Hood. Listen to what I'm saying, Hood. Listen to what I'm saying, Hood. Hood, listen to what I'm saying. No. Because you're kind of dodging. You're kind of dodging this. In every single country, this would be a war crime. Would it or would it not?
Where?
In the United States, you cannot have war.
Time out.
And according to, hold on, wait. No time out. There's no time out.
Do this all the time.
Say that again.
Islam does this all the time.
And it's a war crime. And it's a war crime.
To our human American standard.
No, not just a human American standard. According to international law, this is a war crime.
International law is made by humans.
And it's a war crime. What are you talking about?
I don't think that you're understanding what I'm saying when it's made.
No, I don't understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is this. If you were to describe this, right? to anybody, any general, any nation, anywhere, and if you say our soldiers can go into your homeland while we're at war and capture women and make them our brides, this would automatically be considered a war crime. And if God is all knowing, he know that we would have seen this as detestable, but he gave them instructions on how to do it.
Sir,
That's literally great. No. Listen, and if you look up, if you look up, what war grape is, this is described as war grape.
Understood. What you just said was exactly goes back to my initial point, is that there's a lot of things that God detests, but he gives guidelines as to how to go about doing.
Why did he give guidelines for grape?
He also, why did he give, again, to my first analogy, why did he give guidelines to divorce and he hates divorce?
I don't know. I don't give a shit. Okay, divorce is not great.
So again, we don't know.
Divorce isn't great. Divorce is not great. Divorce is not grape.
Again, we are outside.
Is divorce grape?
It's outside of our knowledge.
Is divorce grape?
It's the exact.
Is divorce grape?
Hated action is a hated action. It's.
Yo, hood.
Your God.
Listen, hood. Is divorce grape?
Is no.
Which one is worse, getting divorced or getting raped?
Please tell me what it matters when we're talking about all things that we hate. So if there's this being that hates this category of things, but in this category of things, he takes one of them out because it's deemed not that bad. He provides guidelines. There's been multiple instances of things that we would describe as heinous, but there were guidelines.
Why would he give guidelines for grape?
Why did he give guidelines to divorce and he hates divorce? I can't answer that question. I'm not God, and I'm not dodging. I said in the comments that I had.
Okay, so that's cool. No, that's hold on.
Question, though,
I got you. Hood. You're being. If you say that you don't know, that's fine, bro. That's honest. I got you with that. Okay. If you say I don't know why God would give, instructions on how to do this heinous things, I don't get it.
I don't know. That's
fine, bro.
It's not that.
That's fine, bro.
It's not a specific heinous thing. It's I don't know.
Yeah, this is grape.
It's I don't know why God would give guidelines as to why
for grape,
how to go about doing anything he defines as detestable or that he hates. So if he hated divorce so much, again, I would question why he didn't just ban it. But it's consistent that there's things that he detests and he hates, but he also gives
guidelines, which is shitty. Because because divorce, hold on, I can't say that as a human because none of us want to be great. And you don't want to be great.
But you can't negate, but you cannot say that he's propagating or promoting said activity.
Yeah, he is. He didn't ban it.
Because I've already given you an example where he hates said activity.
He's promoting it. You know what? You know why I said that he's condoning it?
And I disagree, but I do have to get back to work. I'm not gonna lie. I did only have a couple minutes.
All right, cool. No problem. Yeah, have a good one, bro. The reason why I would say that he's condoning it is because we don't promote this in our own society. We don't condone a war grape. We don't condone taking brides and captive brides. We don't condone that. So what do? In the Geneva Conventions and international law, we ban it. This is exactly what we do because we don't want people to we don't give guidelines on how to have grape. We don't give guidelines for that because we don't want to condone it. Is what it is. All right, I do have more guests. I think your name is Finesse. Then I'm gonna get to Jamari and Peru. I spoke to you yesterday, so I'm gonna get to you last. All right. All right, y'all. While we're here, I do have a goal set up. Finesse is coming up. Finesse, I don't. You're still in the box trying to come up. I don't. I'm not sure if you're still here. All right, y'all. I'm not sure if Finesse is still here. If he's not here anymore, I'm going to move on to Jamari. All right, y'all. I've been here for about 45 minutes. Please keep liking the live, keep sharing it. We do got 35 people in here, 2.9K likes. Please keep liking it, y'all. I do have a goal up. If you agree with my well, not just if you agree, but if you like what I do, you want to support, go ahead, consider supporting by subscribing. I got 2 right now. My Vanessa isn't here anymore. Sorry about that. Oh, there he is. All right, I'm gonna bring Finesse right back up. All right, so after Finesse, I'm gonna talk to you, okay, Jamari, and then I'm gonna get to Peru. I'm only gonna be here for an hour and a half because I do need to get some packing done. Yeah.
Sorry, my mic's working.
Hey, not a problem, man. Any religious tradition?
Oh yeah, sorry. All right. So first off, thank you for having me.
Not a problem, bro. Before you start, any religious tradition? So just so I know.
Oh, I'm Eastern Orthodox.
Eastern Orthodox. All right, cool. Oh, that's an interesting one. I've met Catholics, but I haven't met a lot of Eastern Orthodox. Greek, Ethiopian, Russian.
Greek.
Greek. Awesome. Cool. What you got for me, bro? We got 25 minutes.
All right. So you said earlier how God condones SA. Could you just go to Deuteronomy 22, 25 to 27?
Yeah, give me a sec. Deuteronomy 22:25. But if out in the country a man happens to meet a young woman pledged to be married and rapes her, only the man who has done shall be unalive. Do nothing to the woman; she has committed no sin deserving unaliving. This case deserving death. This case is like that of someone who attacks and unalives a neighbor. For the man found the young woman out in the country, and though the betrothed woman screamed, there was no one to rescue her. You want to go to the verse before that? Finesse, you can get off mute, bro.
Well, it's disapproved to SA someone in God's law.
No, it's not. Verse 28 doesn't care about that. You just got to pay the father.
Well, that's only in the NIV. It doesn't say to SA her. The actual translation is to seize and then bed, and there it's referring to if you have a partner that you're dating and you have shemex before marriage, then you have to marry her.
It doesn't say
It
that.
doesn't list. Yes, it does. You can go to the ESV. It never says the R word.
It doesn't say the R word in the ESV. Why
It
does
doesn't say the
NIV
R
say
word.
the and I say the R word? Okay, we can go to ESV because I have heard this before. Even in that translation, scholars have looked at it and say that to seize is actually a physical action, the way that they're describing. So it is still grape.
Okay, so here's the reason why it's not. Because to seize, it says seize then bed. So would it make sense to
Seize
say
then bed, meaning that take
Okay.
her physically and then sleep with her. That's great.
Okay, so if you say that seize means to rape, that would mean rape then bed, which doesn't grammatically even make sense.
No. What I'm saying.
Context is talking about marriage laws.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
When I say seizes her, I'm talking about a physical action, meaning that he actually physically takes her and then beds her. Yeah, takes her by physical force and then beds her. That's grape.
Okay, seize doesn't mean to grape.
I'm not saying that it means to grape. I mean, I'm saying that it means to physically take someone. I'm not saying that the grape didn't happen yet. He just physically forced her to go somewhere, and then he bed her. That's grape. Like
Okay,
if I were to go to the club, right, and I see some hot chick I like, and then I grabbed her hand, I seized her, and I go to the bathroom and stuck my pee-pee in her. That's grape, right?
Okay, so if I can say the same thing. If I take a woman from the club that doesn't mean I stole her or I took her against her will. That's just added subtext.
Understood. But in this context over here, from what scholars have said, this right here is exactly what I'm describing.
Okay, I understand that some scholars may say that, but majority of scholars over history really don't agree with that. They usually say
incorrect.
I can give some articles if you're willing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Did you want to talk to which scholar? Dan McLennan, Bart Ehrman. Well, Bart Ehrman's New Testament. Which ones?
I'm
going off of Dan McLennan. Which one are you going off of?
I'm just going off the ESV Bible.
Okay, no, I get it. I got you. But if you go on this, Dan McLennan is actually on this site, and he is on TikTok, and he actually spoke about this verse several times before. Like he goes back into scholars from like the 1800s, and they actually still agree that this means a physical action to force someone to go somewhere with you. No consent is mentioned, or there's no consent. They're actually saying that this is not consensual. So this is great. And all you gotta do is pay shekels to the Father.
All right. I can definitely pull them up. Some articles arguing against that, but we can move on from this for now.
Yeah,
so so back to the title. You say you have better morals, and okay, I can understand that. So are you an atheist?
Yes, I am.
Would you say you don't have any faith in anything?
I think if we were to go to a long exhaustive list, there's gonna be something that I have to have faith in. Like well, actually, I can't think of one thing. My what's that thing called again? My because we talked about this the first guy that I was with. My sense data, basically. I have to have faith that I'm not a brain of that. That's really the only good explanation I can give, because like I have no evidence that I'm not a brain of that. So it's like that's the only external world skepticism. I kind of have to believe that I'm in the real world and that I'm speaking to you, another person in the real world. That's really the only thing that we kind of have to have faith in, because we have no other choice. You see what I mean?
No, I understand that, but wouldn't you also say that morality requires faith as well? What evidence?
Really?
Morality. Okay, so what evidence is there in morality?
Empathy.
Why? Okay, so you said empathy, right? That's a human emotion. So what about people who can't express empathy?
They were born with something wrong with their limbic system.
Psychosis. Okay, so even with people who are born with empathy, don't you still know? Don't people with empathy still do bad things on their own accord?
Yeah, I mean, morality is not perfect.
Okay, so I'm sure you believe in subjective morality, right? Okay, so in subjective morality, there's no clear defined right or wrong, meaning that anyone can come up with their own morality, meaning that just because you believe something, so it's not substantial. So to give an absolute definition to say something is evil would be false. You say, I think it's wrong, but not a definitive fact, which is simply belief.
The thing is, I have a subjective standard of morality, but from that subjective standard, I can make objective observations. And from those objective observations, that's how I can judge whether something is good or bad, or good or evil.
Okay, so how can you get objective from something that's opinionative? Okay,
so my subjective view of morality, and I think everyone's view of morality, is based on one big thing: consequences. Right? There's negative consequences, there's positive consequences, there's pro-social consequences, there's anti-social consequences. I also have so consequences, also put in my own thing: human well-being, equality, and degrees of harm. These are subjective to me, but from that I can make objective observations from that. For example, human well-being and degrees of harm. There is no way in my subjective view that slavery and genocide promotes human well-being, promotes or decreases harm, like, because none of them do that objectively.
Okay.
Slavery decreases human well-being, it increases harm, it decreases equality, and it just has antisocial consequences. Yeah, you understand what I mean? Like objectively, like there's no There's no
Alright.
subjective standard for those things. So even though it's a subjective standard that I put on, these are still objective observations.
All right. So let me put it to you another way, because I feel like you still may not understand what I'm saying here. So again, your view is still opinionative. And so what I'm saying is that based on opinion, you can't have a definitive right or wrong. You can just have base opinions. That's all subjective morality is. Now, to add on to
Slavery
that,
causing
so-
harm is not subjective. It's not an opinion. It's factual that this causes harm.
Okay, no, it absolutely does cause harm, but
Exactly.
why is harm morally wrong?
Because it causes harm. Period.
Okay, so let me say this. If I go outside, or if someone goes outside, I could never. If someone goes outside and stabs someone and robs them and takes their wallet, that causes harm, but that would benefit the person. And why should he feel any empathy for that? Because he gained something.
He still caused harm.
Okay, so why should he care?
Because does he want it to happen to him?
Why would he care? Why would he care if it happens to him?
If he doesn't care that it happens to him, then this person was just has ASPD and they're a psychopath.
Okay, so just because, all right, so if someone doesn't want that to happen to him, why does that mean they can't do it to someone else?
Because they don't want it to happen to them. They have empathy.
Empathy is when you put someone else in their shoes. But if he stabs him unremorseful, but he doesn't want to be stabbed, then what
Then
then?
he shouldn't do it. He should. He needs to learn.
based on
He needs
what?
to learn how to have better empathy.
Yes, that's your subjective, opinionative view, which I agree with.
Empathy is objective. You think that there are people who are born without empathy. I do agree with you there, and those people usually have ASPD or they're antisocial or they're sociopaths. But that's really a small degree of society. Now you can have your empathy like degraded over time, or you can learn not to be empathetic with others. You know what I'm saying? If you grow up in an environment or with people that just promote selfishness, but at a certain point in time, you're going to have empathy. Humans are born with it, and they have to cultivate it, of course, because we live in a society. No one just wakes up every day, goes around stabbing people. They have to learn that.
Not necessarily, because like again, it's about their environment, which I agree with you with. And I understand that psychosis is a very small percent of people. But at the same time, when you say that because empathy, that gives us morals, that's simply just a independent feeling, which can go back to how without a set morality or an objective morality, then we're really just chemical computers at the baseline of it. Because
yes, we are.
Okay, so exactly. So baseline computers don't really require morality or any sort of well-being.
Yeah, we do. You live in a society.
Okay, yeah, but society's man-made.
Yeah, and we have social interdependence, right?
Exactly.
So we have to have morality.
No.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, if we don't have morality, we can't have society. We can't have social interdependence. We'll just be like bears in the woods. We'll be solitary creatures. Like if we had absolutely no empathy, but we're not. We're a society. We're a social species, and every single social species has empathy. All of them, even ants.
All right, that's true. But okay, so for a society, it's required to have empathy. But
it's required
for
to have. Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
For a society to function, no, I'm agreeing with you on this. So for a society to function, the people in this society have to have empathy. But humans to function do not need empathy or to care about others. Again, so I cannot want something to happen to me, but I can go out and do harmful things. It could be as big as unalivement, or it could be as small as just theft. I could break into someone's home, steal a bunch of their money, and not care, and still not want to kill someone, or I'm sorry, unalive someone. Sorry, TikTok language. So again,
correct.
So even forget about psychosis. Even with grape, like what you were talking about, I can't. Because grape doesn't require psychosis. There are millions of unfortunate victims who their what's the word? who the criminals don't have any sort of mental illness. They are just truly bad people who feel empathy but still do the things they do.
Yeah, and they don't understand what consent is, or they like to feel powerful. Because grape is more about power. Grape is more about have the feeling of power. It is actually a lack of empathy because they want to feel more powerful than the other person. Grape is always usually more about power than about the carnal urge for sex.
That is true, but still, that those people still would have empathy.
Yeah, they will still have. They will just lack it for their victim.
Okay, so you see how people can have empathy but still lack morals?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so it still goes against your point of subjective morality, while in
No, it
objective
doesn't.
morality, yeah, it does, because you're basing it your subjective morality being superior because of empathy, when people with empathy still lack the same thought process.
No, I didn't say because of empathy. I mentioned 3 or 4 things specifically. I said consequences, negative or positive, human well-being, degrees of harm, and equality. That's what's required from me.
Okay, so common sense and degrees of what?
I said consequences, either negative or
Consequences.
positive. Consequences, degrees of harm, human well-being, equality.
Equality. All right.
Mhm.
So,
And grape violates all of those.
all right, I agree with you. So, during, I believe, during the 1600s in Haiti, where the French enslaved, and would you say that they lacked empathy, right?
Yes,
Why?
because they didn't
enslaved, right?
they didn't view black people as human.
Okay, so even here we see that it's simply just a social norm. Right now, let's say 100 years later, they look at us and see the things we do and say we lacked empathy. That's simply social construct and opinionative.
Yeah, in 100 years from now, I actually predict in about 100, 150 years from now, when we don't need to have, cows for food, people are going to say that we were unempathetic for, slaughtering cows in order to eat.
Okay.
I think most of the world in 150 years from now is going to be vegan.
Honestly, I don't see anything bad with veganism.
Me neither. They're right. I'm just too lazy to be one.
I mean, it's not that I'm too lazy. I fast anyways during Lent, and I already don't eat most meat besides beef and like lamb. But at the same time, I am just so lazy. But you see my point, how morality and empathy changes with time. So maybe even in 100 years, they'll say, oh, they were just too harsh. They were thinking about it too much and are less empathetic. It all depends with time. And times change. So again, this still backs up how subjective morality is flawed in this way. Whereas if we have an objective morality that states murder, rape, and theft is ultimately wrong, no one can disagree with it.
The problem with this is that even that would be subjective, because where does that come from? That comes from Yahweh, correct?
Okay, yes.
Okay, yeah. So whatever Yahweh says goes, it's either, kind of like divine command theory that makes morality completely arbitrary because it's whatever what God says, or if it's good or bad, no matter what God says, morality won't require God anyway.
Okay, so here's why this argument's false. If I create a video game and let's say you ever play Call of Duty?
Yep.
Okay, so in Call of Duty, you're not allowed to use aimbot. Those are the objective rules of the game. And I break it and I get banned. Does that mean the game is subjective?
Yes.
How?
Because they made the rules. If the developers of Call of Duty says you can use aimbot now, and it's completely arbitrary, you can use aimbot because they made the rules.
Okay, but in Modern Warfare 2019, they never changed the rules, and they said to this value, if you change this value, you are objectively wrong and you will be banned. And they know how to design the game. They designed the entire game. This is the way the game should be played. There's no other way to play the game. That is not subjective. That is baseline fact for the developers.
Right, for the developers who made this game, they said that this is the rule: aimbotting. There's no aimbot. You objectively cannot use aimbot, and if you do use it, you will be banned. That is their rule. They made that rule, right? The rule comes from them. The game is still
Yes.
subjective because tomorrow they can change their mind.
Okay, but okay, all right. So we know that Call of Duty never changed their mind about not morality,
Aimbot.
about the rules of the game, or aimbot, right? And so again, with the all-knowing, all-powerful, with the all-knowing, all-powerful God, we know that his we know that he doesn't change. This is a common thing throughout the Bible, Torah, or even if you want to go to the Quran, that God's law does not change because he knows all and he already knows for a fact what is good and wrong.
Okay, so how come he didn't tell them to not have slaves then?
He already did. He said, treat everyone as equals, love your neighbor as yourself, respect all. And then if you want to go back to the rules about slavery, yes, he said that even if you have slaves, that you shouldn't be hurting them, you shouldn't be striking them. And even
It doesn't say that. It says as far, it just Leviticus 25:44 just says that they're gonna be your property. It says you can beat them too. There's rules about beating them.
well, there's rules about slaves because at the time they were saying that at the time the Israelites, I believe, were having slaves against God's law, which is another reason why God tends to take away his gifts because these people are committing sin over and over and not repenting.
But this wasn't against God's law. This was God literally telling the Israelites what they can do, and he could tell them that he told them that they can own slaves and that they can beat them and that they can be beaten. This wasn't against God's law. He could have just told them not to have slaves, but he didn't say that.
Okay, so if I say to my child, what's a better way of saying it? I don't think child's the best example because that's not the best comparison. All right. So I'm just gonna stick to a child. So if I have a child and I say you can't hit your brother, and he still hits your brother, then me as a father, if I want them to behave and I know they have this energy, I don't want them to constantly hurt each other. So I say, all right, so if you guys want to have a physical altercation in a healthy way, you gotta go in a boxing gym where you can be managed and have a much healthier mindset. This is the same thing we can apply to God. God says, treat everyone as equals. You are all equal in the image of God. So you must love each other and hold up the law according to what I say. But then when you have slaves, you cannot do A, B, and C. You understand what I'm saying?
How about not just ban it like the way that he did for cutting your beard or wearing tattoos? Because there was still going to be people. There was still going to be people who was going to cut their beards and wear tattoos. He could have made rules around that, like he did around slavery, but he just banned it outright. He could have just banned it outright here too.
That is true. I'm not sure why he didn't specify, but again, this isn't him condoning. This is him condemning slavery or treating others as unequals. And this
Not
is
really,
why,
because he says that they can.
I'm sorry. I'll be finished. I know I'm running a lot, and I want to give you time to talk. Also, thank you again for having me up here.
No problem.
So again, this is why apologists and activists throughout history, especially American history, go back to the Bible to prove how morality or slavery is immoral. Like I can give you Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther, and even other apologists or theists like Malcolm X, who was Muslim but used the Quran to base his morality.
No, I understand all that because they all use that, but slave owning Christians in the American South, they also use the Bible, and they specifically use this verse in Leviticus 25:44, and they use Exodus 21 as well.
True. But okay, but at the same time, they also made it racial. People can use the Bible in many ways. This is also where Protestantism comes in.
I understand that, but that's what I'm saying.
That into denomination, but
yeah, of course, I know. There's Protestantism, Orthodoxy, Eastern, the Ethiopian Church is a lot. I know there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, okay. We got about 30 seconds, man. So we got to wrap up. You got any last thing for me?
Oh, I got nothing. last thing I want to say, if there are any Christians in the chat, don't be homophobic. Yes, you can't marry a man for a man. That makes me upset sometimes, especially with my boyfriend. But you can still date a man. You can't have intercourse with him. You can't marry him. And that's it. Have a nice day.
Okay, have a good one. Eastern Orthodox and has a boyfriend. Wow, never would have. Yeah, these are I've. Hey, maybe they have a different tradition, y'all. You know what I mean? Because I know in the Catholic Church that's not really allowed, but like in Eastern Orthodox, maybe it is. I do know there are some affirming churches out there. Yeah, man, I didn't know Eastern Orthodox allowed that. I honestly didn't know that. I do know there are affirming churches. What's that? Oh, man, I literally forgot the name. It was on the tip of my tongue. But it's some church here in the American Northeast, like around Boston area, that it's a gay affirming church. It's a pretty good one too. What is the Universalists? The Universalists, yeah, the Universalists are a gay affirming church. But I didn't know Eastern Orthodoxy was gay affirming. That's cool. I never knew that. I do want to know when Islam is going to follow in their place, because there are a lot of people from that part of the world that want to be Muslim, but they have those feelings. You know what I mean? So when y'all going to catch up, Islam? All right, y'all. I'm gonna get Jamari, and for Peru, you're gonna be up last. If I get anybody else, I'm not gonna go with them for long. All right, y'all. We've been here for an hour, y'all. Jamari might be gone, y'all. Jamari might be gone because he's been waiting for a while. Yeah, he might be gone because he's been waiting for a while. All right, y'all. We do have 4.2K likes. We got 35 people in here. If you agree with me, or if you disagree with me, please consider joining. I do appreciate all the likes. I do have a goal up. If y'all want to donate to the goal, I do have a goal up, and I appreciate everybody being here. I did see Faith Alone in the comments. I spoke to Faith Alone before. Faith Alone, if you want to come up, if you're still here, go ahead and come up, bro. Because I think Jamari is gone. Jamari might be gone. But yeah, I did see Faith Alone in the chat. Faith Alone, we did speak before. Yeah, Jamari's gone, y'all. Faith Alone, we did speak before. So Faith Alone, if you're still in the chat, go ahead and come up. I don't mind talking to you. All right, Peru, there you are, Peru. I'm bringing you up right now. Now, Peru, like I said yesterday, I know you're Muslim. I don't know much about the Quran, so we can't really have a great back and forth, but let's go ahead and still speak. What you got for me, bro?
Yeah, I just want to ask you simple questions. Like according to Christianity, what is the miracle of Jesus?
Well, it was raising from the dead in 3 days.
Yeah, not really. Like when he was alive, he was healing.
Oh, when he was alive, you mean? Oh, yeah. Walked on water, turned water into wine, cured blindness, cured leprosy. I think that was brought Lazarus back from the dead, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what is the miracle of Islam or the Prophet?
The miracle of the Prophet? Oh man, that was on the tip of my tongue too. I forgot, man. Remind me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. So the miracle of the Prophet Muhammad is a lot of miracles. So there are some miracles they happened at his time that people to witness, and today we have our own miracle.
Okay, what is that?
Which is the Quran and the Hadith.
Okay, I've heard that. How is the Quran a miracle in of itself? Because it's just someone who wrote it. Like, yes. What's the miracle?
I agree with you. So it has around 4 or 5 miracles in the Quran. I'm going to show you the first one. The first one, we have scientific facts in the Quran that the Prophet Muhammad could not have known at that time. Like, for example, the Big Bang, the expansion of the universe. He knew the lowest point on Earth geographically. It's in the Dead Sea. He knew about that. We have, for example, about the shape of the mountains, that they are like pegs, and the largest part is under the ground. This is one part, scientific facts. Also, we have prophecies about the future that we can see today. And also, we have historical information that are in the Quran that we are just discovering in the last 200 years ago.
Okay,
The
great.
Prophet Muhammad could not have known at that time, and we can prove it very easily.
Okay. Now here's the thing.
Yes.
I like I told you before, I've never read the Quran. So you can say all these things, and I'm pretty sure that people are gonna be like, hella disappointed. I'm not arguing against you,
No
but
problem.
it's just the fact that I have not read the Quran. I've now like when I say that I'm an atheist, that means that I do reject all religious claims until it's actually proven to be true. I see no evidence for an Allah as any way that I see evidence for a Yahweh. But give me 1 second. Hey, all deacon, I'm not sure if you read the Quran before and if you could discuss this with him, but me, I can't really. The only thing I could take, I can do Peru is just take your word for it and then go study it myself. It's only been a day since we
No
spoken,
problem.
so
Can I-
like,
Can I give you one website to look at?
yeah, sure. Give me that website and I'll look at the skeptics as well. Have you ever spoken to ex-Muslims? Because I have seen discussions with the ex-Muslims where they've explained that what you're saying is not true. But since I'm not in that tradition, I don't want to offend anybody and say that is not true. You see
No
what I'm saying?
problem. I understand. But let me tell you something. In
Mhm.
Islam, we believe this life is a test. So you have to make your own decision.
Mhm.
Don't listen to me and don't listen to them. Make your own study and investigation. So
Yeah,
don't
sure.
try
I respect
to
that.
disprove that because we can clearly show. Can I share with you one or two prophecies? Very simple.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know what the Genghis Khan did to Baghdad? If you know the history.
When
invaded the
Genghis Khan invaded Baghdad,
Yeah.
man, is it the one where he threw dead bodies over the walls, or the one where he put like silver into people's eyes? Because Genghis
Yeah,
Khan did a lot of shit.
Yeah, because basically, the city Baghdad was like the capital of the world in science and everything.
Yeah,
and he
I remember.
destroyed the whole city.
Mhm.
It's the Prophet Muhammad told us about that 600 years before the event took place.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, send that all to me. I'd like to read it.
Yeah, go to provenislam.com.
Provingislam.com. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Yeah, you can send that all to me. I'll send that to some people I know. I'll discuss it and I'll get a better understanding of it. Sure. I don't know.
Can I share with you another one? I think, in my opinion, this is the biggest one, and no one knows about this. And you can do your own research. Do you know what's happening in Gaza right now?
And Raza, with
Palestine and
Palestine, and yeah.
He told us exactly what's gonna happen and when, and the city. He told us the city.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah,
You can DM me if you want. Yeah, I'll check it all
Yeah,
out.
I will send you the website and the link, and then you can do your own research.
Sure thing, man. I appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, not a problem. All right, y'all. I think I've run out of guests. Now, like I said, I'm not well versed in Islam. Don't tell me to argue against them or anything like that. If Christians want to argue with Muslims, y'all can go ahead. I'll invite y'all both up and y'all can go ahead and have at it. Yeah, I mean, if someone who's an ex-Muslim in the comments knows more about this than me, you can teach me or you can argue with them. But me, the only reason why I don't respond to or really argue with Muslims like that is because, like I said, I don't know the Quran, yo. Just like if someone were to come up with the Bhagavad Gita or the holy book of the Sikhs, I'm gonna be clueless. I'm gonna tell you that right now. They're gonna say, "Oh, this miracle and that miracle." I'm gonna be like, "Okay, sure." Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be completely clueless. So don't expect me to argue against them either. All right. Let me see. Just use wikiislam.org or atheistversusislam.com. Okay, yeah, I'll check that out, Deacon. I actually do know one person who studied the Islamic texts, and I'll send him like this live, and I'll have him talk to me about it. I appreciate that, all Deacon. All right, y'all. I did say I wasn't gonna be here for long. There's not a lot of people here left. I think Faith Alone told me that he can't join right now because his mic is acting up. So at this moment, we did run out of guests, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and get it out of here. I do appreciate you all being here. We did an hour and 19 minutes, so I do appreciate you all being here. We got 25 people in here, 6K likes. I do appreciate that. We didn't hit that goal. Let's try to hit that next time, okay? I'm gonna be on tomorrow. I think I'll be on later in the day though. Like I said, I'm doing a move, So I'm packing up. So you should see my room right now. My room right now is a mess. It's a mess. But I'm packing up right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and see you guys later. I do appreciate you all being here. Stay chill. You know what I mean? Peace and love. Yeah, have a good one. No room tour, not this one, not this time. When I get to my apartment, they will have a room tour. But I do